from Kitchener-Conestoga.
Thank you, Speaker. My questions to the Premier. Premier, in April you joined a long list of senior Liberals who've gone out on a limb to defend the eco-tax scheme cooked up by your government 5 years ago. Despite the PC Party's repeated calls for these needless taxes to be scrapped, you told Ontarians that eco-taxes were, quote, just the cost of dealing with waste. Premier, your position is unacceptable. Consumers shouldn't be billed $200 million a year to fund Liberal recycling cartels. Now that you're forcing the Environment Minister to table a recycling bill tomorrow to make up for 5 years of Liberal failure on the environment, can you assure Ontarians that your government will meet the PC Party's demand to scrap eco-taxes, which were created by the godfather of this tax scheme, Dalton McGuinty?
Mr. Premier, Minister of the Environment.
Well, one almost doesn't know how to answer that particular question other than to say if there were a paternity suit that would be launched on this issue, it would go to the Progressive Conservative Party that brought in the bill in the year 2002, which has caused so much problems, which allowed the establishment of what we would describe as cartels. I cannot believe that you can be asking a question of this kind when the real godfather of eco-fees is your leader, the member for Niagara West Glanbrook, who, when he was Minister of Consumer and Commercial Relations, as I think it was called then, and criticized, by the way, by the former member for Owen Sound very severely, did nothing about eco-fees or the possibility of preventing them. Our government is the government that's going to tackle this issue and ensure that it is simply a cost of doing business and not an additional fee.
Speaker, it's quite humorous to hear the Environment Minister blame a 10-year-old piece of legislation when Ontario's current problems all stem from the decisions made by your government. We all know Liberal regulations cooked up by Ontario's godfather of eco-taxes, the former Premier, forces consumers to pick up the tab for recycling tires, electronics, paint cans and batteries, after being surprised by these additional charges at the cash register. It is this system that's created the mess that we're in today. So, Premier, when the Environment Minister tables his recycling bill tomorrow, can we expect to see a commitment to undo 5 years of Liberal damage that has cost Ontario consumers hundreds of millions of dollars and left the province's recycling rate parked at just 23%?
Minister of the Environment.
I have consulted widely with a number of groups and organizations and individuals on legislation that could be brought forward in the House at a future date, bringing forward a new bill to replace the flawed bill that was passed by the Conservative government when it was in majority. And almost to a person, they have indicated the real problem that exists is the original bill. And all of the problems that have arisen from that, they have made recommendations to me. I happen to believe, for instance, the Ontario Waste Management Association and others have some great ideas that I want to see incorporated in any legislation that might be introduced in this House. And the last thing I want to do is wonder if the former Minister of the Environment's scars on his back have healed.
Answer. Good question. The member from